Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Flying with the Foam on HJN. And so, I would very much like to continue going forward with all this. And I will point out really quickly that with all the new reviews I've been putting out there, I've certainly been getting quite a bit of new attention from here on out. So, this just means that I can pretty much only keep going here to make a lot of people happier, knowing that I'm still around, I'm still working hard, and I'm still continuing my time with all of this. So, of course, let's just keep going with this. Number 661. Yep. And the one I picked here is the Elite Surestrike. And this one in particular certainly does have a lot of merits within it that I pretty much shouldn't pass up. If you're very familiar with the DartTag 1.0 lineup itself, then this was in fact a blaster that was a part of it. This was initially referred to as the Stormfire, but now it's gotten itself an elite treatment. It came out 13 years later, 2018. But in between it all, there were a couple other attempts to try and revitalize the Stormfire to make it a much more recent addition to some other lineups here and there. The Zombie Strike lineup, for example, introduced this blaster in particular as the Clear Shot, which it had itself a new sort of decor put onto it. And we also can't forget the fact that, well, this did in fact have a different sort of, well, attachment on the top. But this one also came with its own attachment. A red dot sight, which you could easily get in most other places. But now they decided to bring back the laser red dot sight and include it with a Stormfire reskin. That, I feel like, is a pretty good match right here. If only we could get ourselves the classic 2005 Capture the Flag set back. Yeah, that would have been a pretty cool idea to bring back for today's generation, especially with all the new designs and innovations and adaptations that Hasbro has been putting together, including these new bunkers, blaster storage, blaster cabinets, blaster chests, toy bins, and all other sorts of things out there. Even a dart vacuum, flying dart targets, floating ping pong balls that pretty much act as their own sort of targets, and hundreds of other things out there. The last 5 years alone have been a huge time for Nerf to put in a lot of other sort of accessory kits, target kits, and other sorts of kits that you can pretty much get anywhere. But to be fair, they're all pretty awesome. But going back to the Surestrike, it works just as you expect it would, being that this is in fact the third time now that Nerf has pretty much put out a Stormfire into the marketplace. 3 different blasters, 3 different names, 3 different lineups that they all come from, but they're all the same exact design. Like this, pretty much. Just pull this little thing back here and fire. And of course this one is pretty chock full of dart storage. You have a dart storage barrel here, 2 more down below it, as well as 1 underneath the grip, which is very much like a few other blasters that I've talked about, some of which I pretty much inadvertently discovered myself, such as the Rebel Secrets and Spies series, pretty much. But overall, I will say, the Surestrike is still a pretty nice blaster overall, or the entire Stormfire family of blasters out there have all done pretty nicely, for the time especially. The DartTag ones were not very powerful and the like, but that's kind of what we had to get used to that time, because Hasbro wasn't necessarily very professional at this, and they weren't very professional at it most other times, even in more recent years, where they should have been. But when they reintroduced it 9 years later with the Clear Shot, that was another sort of paradigm shift that they decided to make. They've made reskins for hundreds of different blasters out there, and they've been re-releasing a lot of older versions, sometimes under the same name which is pretty frustrating, and that kind of leads me out to that sort of rant. Sometimes they don't. And this is a good example of that. It started off with the Stormfire, which is this exact blaster, but in a different color scheme. Then 2014 with the Clear Shy, and now here's the Surestrike. If Hasbro could do this twice, then how come they couldn't do it with most of the other reskin blasters out there? Like when the Recon started off as the Recon, and then the Retaliator, and then there was the White Retaliator. I mean, I just call it the Avalanche because that's just something that Hasbro's just been doing. They have pretty much been careless about this, not really paying attention to the fact that they already had a product out there called the Retaliator, and not to mention the fact that they've had lots of other Nerf products out there that had these same exact sort of names, yet they've been recycling them. It couldn't get any more confusing. Or could it? I guess we shouldn't leave that up to chance because, well, I myself hope to fix that problem someday. I hope to fix problems with trademarks and, well, this sort of thing as a whole. Even if it takes decades to happen. But overall, the Stormfire family blasters was great. And now we have ourselves a more recent adaptation of that blaster in particular, the Surestrike. And being that it came along with the long gone laser red dot sight attachment, that pretty much only leads us to conclude that these are two things that we have kind of lost in the past, but yet somehow we managed to recover them. So that alone is just awesome for what it is. If Hasbro can do it then, I'm betting that they could probably do it years from now by reintroducing some of these older sets and some of these older series back to the present, which would be today. Or it could even be in the future. Who knows? But that's pretty much going to be it for today, and that's going to be it of me, well, talking a lot about Nerf right now. Until next time. If you want to see more go down on my channel though, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.